Hello. So I've landed back in the UK. So I'm back here now. I'm set up for the next 2 months. Just looking after my grandpa for the next 2 months before I decide where I'm going to be next. Literally could be anywhere, to be honest with you. So I have absolutely no idea where that's going to be. I could be teaching anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. But I have a mug of tea in my hand. My PC has survived the trip. So, yeah. Everything's good. I thought I'd address one of the questions that I've been asked on the channel quite a bit going forwards. And that is, why do I like Grey Knight so much? I spent 2 years working with Games Workshop asking this very question. I spent 2 years asking, why do you like such and such an army? Why do you play such and such an army? Why do you, what do you find cool about them? So I thought I'd give you my answer. Since, no one asked me when I was working Games Workshop, no one asked me whether, why I liked a certain army or what I cared to think about them. So, thought I'd just come in and give my opinions on what I perceive to be the best faction in Warhammer 40,000. The Dread Knight that you see in the background there, that's how Dread Knight should look, by the way, and I will fight anyone on the street who says otherwise. That is how the Dread Knight should look, bar none. So hopefully we get a redesign one day, because that would look badass, this big old mecha robot, just, really sleek, really fashionable, really paladin-like. So the first thing that drew me to the Grey Knights was just how different they were, okay? Like, they are normal Space Marines, sure, they're normal Space Marines, in as much as a Primarch is also a normal Space Marine, in as much as a Custodes is a normal Space Marine, they are, the Grey Knights are, in lore, one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful fighting force the Imperium has at its disposal. There is a good case to be made that they would even beat the Custodes, because there are, at the moment at least, there are far more Grey Knights than there are Custodes. And every single time you see a Grey Knight in the fiction, whether it be in Crow's novels or any other novels, actually, there's even a Death Watch novel where Loyalist Marines have to fight one Grey Knight, and the Grey Knight just annihilates most of them, That is the power of the Grey Knights in fiction, in the lore, okay? They have an extremely cool backstory, which if you're reading the Horus Heresy novels, they are, that they are the Knights Errant. These are guys who will become Grey Knights going forward. I really hope that they go and expand on the fact that, the original Grey Knights are some of the coolest Space Marines, I hope Garrow and Loken don't just disappear into the ether. I really hope that they become the first Grey Knights. That's something that I really hope. But we're yet to see that yet. That's going to come in the next few months, years. But in all honesty, one of the other things I really love about their lore is that their gene seed. So their gene seed is taken from the Emperor himself as a final gift to the Imperium. So that is something that I find... I sort of get why Grey Knights get some of the hate that they do, and I will get onto this in a minute. But the Emperor's Gene Seed is something that was first expanded upon in Demon Hunters, the Codex Demon Hunters, which was written by Matt Ward, and anyone who knows any of Matt Ward's books knows that he takes great delight and glee in ruining Warhammer 40,000 for everybody by generally taking whatever faction he's working on that week and making them the most powerful, the most ridiculously cool, quote-unquote, Mary Sues to ever grace the hobby, okay? So he did it with Ultramarines for a long time, and in the Demon Hunters Codex, he also did it with Grey Knights. And as a Grey Knight player, I can tell you now that the stick, the absolute ribbing I got, even in 2 editions later, 3 editions, 4 editions later, 7th edition, 6th edition, 7th edition when I was in university, I would still get people telling me that Grey Knights are overpowered. And we're talking 3, 4, 5 codex later, and they're still thinking about the Demon Hunters Codex, because a lot of hobbyists are quite lazy. They don't want to do their homework. They don't want to read up on other people's armies and see what's good and what isn't. Since the Demon Hunters Codex, the Grey Knights have always been in the upper third of armies. until 8th edition came around, and I will get to them. I'll get to that in a minute. So the really cool thing about the Grey Knight lore is that they are uncompromising, they are unflinching, they will murder vast amounts of people just to keep their very existence a secret. If anyone sees anything chaotic, they will literally either mind wipe them if they're a space marine, or just annihilate them if they're not. And what I really like about Grey Knights is that a villain, a hero's only ever as good as his villain, right? And if you're a Chaos player, and your main villain is essentially the Emperor and the Grey Knights, right? But it also gets across the power of Chaos, okay? These ultra powerful dudes have to annihilate entire planets just for seeing Chaos corruption, just for seeing demons. That's how powerful Chaos is. And that's what I love about the Grey Knights. They don't just, in terms of the story, they don't just serve themselves, okay? They don't. They absolutely serve the entire Chaos pantheon in a weird way, because the Grey Knights have to be so powerful and so far-reaching and so absolutely staunchly not moving. We're going to murder everybody who even sees this stuff. That it really puts Chaos in a really cool perspective. It makes Chaos seem really powerful. It's kind of like professional wrestling. You know, you sell each other's moves, okay? One wrestler isn't supposed to dominate the other one, okay? You sell each other's offense. You make each other look really powerful. So you both look equally cool, and then one of you wins, and then next week the other one might win, but this week one of you wins, right? That's exactly what the Grey Knight and Chaos does to each other, okay? So the Chaos demons are terrified of Grey Knights. The Grey Knights are able to mow through hundreds of thousands of demons without even thinking about it. But also, if a Grey Knight sees an entire planet, has seen one demon, they will lay waste to the entire planet, because that's how dangerous Chaos is. And I love that. I love elegant storytelling, and this is extremely elegant storytelling on Games Workshop's part, so kudos to them for that. The other thing that got me into Grey Knights were these two images that you see on screen right now. They are just absolutely gorgeous. The one on the right is obviously of a Grey Knight holding his power sword, about to swing it down on a demon who's just out of frame there. You can see him at the top there, you can see his blade. So he's either challenging in a stance, or he's about to come forward and try and take off his head. I have seen this picture in black and white, and in my opinion, it is much better in black and white. It is an astonishingly cool piece of artwork with lots of moving parts, like the purity seals, the winds, the fire, right? It's all there. That's the Grey Knight aesthetic in A1, okay? These are knightly paladins. These are people who are able to stand and deliver, to duel with these huge demonic forces and come out on top. And I think this piece of artwork really gets that. The other piece of artwork is black and white. I love these styles of paintings, but he's using a force halberd, and this is how I want Grey Knights to look if they ever do Primaris Grey Knights. I really hope they do them in a sense that, yes, these are Primaris Grey Knights, but they're not Primaris. These are just Grey Knights to scale, essentially. That's what I want them to do. I want them to say, in the lore, well, Grey Knights are always a bit bigger than normal Space Marines, because they're better than normal Space Marines. That's what I would love. If they said, yeah, they have the Emperor's Gene Seed, it makes them a little bit bigger than normal Space Marines. Just retcon that's fine. And give us Primaris Grey Knights. When you do, make sure they look like these two images. Huge, staunch, knightly warriors. Okay, elegant. You know, lots of banner seals, lots of, moving parts to their armor. Okay, ornate. Look at the elbow guards on the Grey Knight on the right. Okay, I want to see things like that, more knightly things attached to these guys, because they're called the Grey Knights. Okay, and also redesign the Dread Knight. If they do those two things, I'm going to be broke very, 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 very quickly. But that's basically the reasons why in lore I love Grey Knights. They stand out. They are not normal Space Marines. They are incredibly powerful in the lore. But now it's time to talk about some of my frustrations with the Grey Knights moving forwards, or from the past. So the Grey Knights in lore are extremely powerful. In the game, not so much. In the interest of balance, which I completely understand and I completely get, but also at the same time, the Demon Hunter's Codex was woefully broken, and I will say that too. But it's the only time Grey Knights have been properly broken. Is 3rd edition, is the Demon Hunter's Codex. Absolutely ridiculous codex. And to be fair, the codexes after that were all pretty powerful. But that also gave people an excuse to say that they were still overpowered. They weren't. Put it this way, like I came up against Eldar in 7th edition most of the time, and I would lose. You know, and I'm a decent player, but the Eldar were just nigh on unbeatable at that stage. If you played your cards right. Same with Tau. But as we got into 8th edition, this is when I was working for Games Workshop, Grey Knights were one of the first codexes to come out for 8th edition. And in coming out for 8th edition, obviously the designers are very, very cautious in what they're doing. They're cautious. They don't want to break the rules very quickly. You know, that they're being very timid in what they're doing, and how they're basically just porting across the rules from 7th edition, slapping a few new rules in there that don't do very much, and calling it a day. For instance, the Brotherhood of Psykers rule is woeful in 8th edition. It's woeful. It's literally Grey Knights get smite, but it's a really bad form of smite. Great. Well, the law says that these guys are ultra powerful Psykers to a man. That should be represented on the tabletop when you buy your models. Thousand Suns should not be able to wipe the floor with Grey Knights in psychic exchanges throughout the game. That shouldn't happen, right? They should go toe to toe, sure, but the Grey Knights should win because they have more Psykers than Thousand Suns do. The Thousand Suns, they're exalted sorcerers are the Psykers, but the normal Rubric Marines aren't. They're dust. The Dustmen. They're automatons. You know, so the Grey Knights should win. In mano a mano in a psychic fight. There's nothing wrong with admitting that some people are just more powerful in certain ways than others. Okay, just put it this way: like a Space Marine army shouldn't be out shooting a Tau army, and it doesn't. so I don't get why certain things like the Grey Knights were so underpowered. I think that's one of the reasons why they were so underpowered in 8th edition. Well, simply because they were one of the first, if not the first, to get a codex, and so it was very underpowered. It was very, they played the cards very close to the chest. And just a couple of months later, the Imperial Guard Codex came out and completely destroyed the balance of the game. So, yeah, there we go. So they've had their time in the sun, and in 9th edition, Grey Knights are okay. I would say they're a middling faction. They shouldn't be, but they are. Simply because Custodians basically do what the Grey Knights do better than the Grey Knights, which I don't think should be a thing. I think every faction has its place in the, to have in the sun. I think every faction has its right to exist and has its right to have nice, cool things. But I also think that, in all honesty, Grey Knights need a slight buff in the current edition. Just to stick with the times, really. To make sure that people know exactly who the Grey Knights are, and that, you know, they are extremely powerful. Don't write all this lore for them, and then just have them basically get taken down by normal Primaris Marines and things like that. That's what I would expect from Grey Knights. That's what I want from going forward. I love their aesthetic. I love the way that they look. I'm actually collecting Space Marines right now, but I always have a Grey Knight contingent with the Space Marines. Always painted as the Space Marines as well. Just because I love the models so much, and I love the aesthetic, and I love the background. So, yeah, I love me some Grey Knights. Every single Space Marine army I ever make will at least have one in the army. And I don't care about balance. I don't care about, you know, playing by, match play rules. No, if you don't want to play me, then don't. But there will always be one Grey Knight model in this army, because I love Grey Knight models. And please get the Primaris Grey Knights right. That's all I can say to Games Workshop. But in the comments, what's your favourite faction? What's your favourite army to play as? Are you thinking about doing another army? Like, what's your current project, and why? Why have you chosen that project? That's what I want to know. I will be turning to Chaos pretty soon, doing an all biker Chaos army. Well, Renegade army anyway. But for now, I'll see you guys later, and have a good one.